Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at theDove.us. Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and what a delight for us today to have with us a very special guest. Liz Peek is with us. She's a columnist for Fox News.com and Fiscal Times, and she watched the State of the Union address with great interest and has some interesting insights to some things that were said or perhaps not said. So we're delighted to have with her. By the way, her website, if you want to connect with her, is Liz, L-I-Z, Peek, P-E-E-K.com, LizPeek.com. Hi, Liz.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. Nice to have you with us. Thanks for your time. Well, the State of the Union address. You said that perhaps the president undermined Hillary Clinton's run. What did you see in here that I didn't see in here?
Well, look, I think that what we've seen from President Obama in the last several months and was reinforced during the State of the Union address is that Obama has really doubled down on the progressive agenda. He has gone very far left, taking Democrats into issues of income inequality, higher taxes on the wealthy, all those things that he started his tenure in the White House talking about. And he's come back to those, I think, prodded by the people like Liz Warren, who are very active in the Democrat Party now, very much opinion makers for Democrats, and also prodded, honestly, by the fact that he's right. I mean, the middle class really has not participated in this recovery. We all know why. Our main weapon against the recession has been low interest rates and monetary easing, the so-called QE2, QE3, and that's been great for stock markets and great for deal making. It hasn't really done much for the middle class. So I think Obama's trying to kind of take that turf. The problem is Hillary Clinton is not the right person to go there with him. I mean, she is a wealthy, successful woman. Every time she starts talking about money, she goofs. Her famous line about leaving the White House dead broke, really kind of rankled with people who really are dead broke. And she has very close ties to Wall Street, which is sort of part of the progressive, talking points, is not just that we've got some problems with middle-class Americans, but also that the rich aren't playing by the rules, that Wall Street's kind of gotten away with, kind of murder here, and that of course, the right, the Republicans are going to try and dumb down Dodd-Frank, which they view as the bulwark against Wall Street greed. I mean, it really isn't. Dodd-Frank's a terrible bunch of rules and regulations, but that's kind of the talking point. And I just think it really is uncomfortable for Hillary in many ways.
Wow. Very interesting. So you're saying that the president continues to go left, more left than Hillary feels comfortable going, which puts her in a position she may have to criticize the administration in order to be acceptable.
Well, I think she already has started to do that. Hillary's in a funny spot because, on the one hand, people view with sentimentality the tenure of her husband, Bill Clinton, during which time the country did pretty well. So she can talk about that, but there's a problem there for her. The reason the country did well, or at least certainly part of the reason, is that he adopted very middle-of-the-road policies like NAFTA, the free trade agreement in North America, and also welfare reform, things that are quite popular with Republicans and maybe the middle of the country, but definitely not on the left. So she can either veer there and kind of go historic, or she can talk about her time as Secretary of State. And as we all know, that is seriously problematic. And Obama skated over all our multiple problems in foreign policy during the State of the Union speech and really got hammered across the board. Liberals and conservatives alike said, what are you talking about? None of these policies has really borne fruit. This is a real problem for the country. We do not feel secure. And your pronouncements that the war on terror is dead or over are completely fictional. So Hillary definitely wants to, I think, divorce herself from that. But if she does that, then really, what is she running on? I mean, 30-year-old, middle-of-the-road economics. And boy, that doesn't help her right now.
All right. What time I have with you? Let me skip over to John Boehner just real quick. He gave some interesting interviews over the weekend. Some say, he made the comment or suggestion that people are out to get him. Other people wanted him to be replaced. He's in place. Seems to be pretty solid. Can he lead, and will he lead?
I think he is leading. I think we've seen, look, I think the critics of John Boehner are pretty unrealistic, right? I mean, I think when you control only one house of Congress and not the White House, there's only so much you can do. The latest grievance for Ted Cruz and Tea Partiers is that he didn't stand in the way of a spending bill. And we can spend a lot of time on this, time you don't have. But the truth is, the last time they shut down the government, the Republican brand got hit worse than it has ever been in its history. Mitch McConnell and John Boehner understand that. They did not want to interrupt government spending. They did carve out the Homeland Security portion, which contains spending on the immigration amnesty program that Obama has authored all by himself. And I think that was a pretty sensible move. I don't know if there was a joint interview last night on 60 Minutes. I thought both of them came across as pretty reasonable, pretty intelligent about what we need to do to get this country healing and getting moving forward again. And I hope that, people kind of rally around and act like grown-ups. The Republicans have to show Americans that this November vote was just not a repudiation of Obama, which it was, but also an endorsement of GOP principles, which are on the table right now. I mean, what can they do? Do they have ideas that might help average Americans? That's what we need to hear from these guys.
What do you think about the speaker inviting Prime Minister Netanyahu? Seems to be an interesting twist. Over the weekend, one media source says this is more an indictment on Netanyahu than it is Boehner going against some kind of protocol.
You know what? Obama has been dismissive of Netanyahu, our greatest ally in the Middle East, for almost his entire time in office. He doesn't like the man. He's made that very clear. The last time, if you remember, Netanyahu had to leave the White House by the back door. I think it is perfectly reasonable for Congress to want to hear the other side on what may evolve as the greatest security issue facing the United States. The negotiations with Iran, if you want to read about it, there are some websites that really cover what has been going on in these negotiations. The idea that Iran has done anything to get us to the bargaining table or to get a solid agreement in place is completely laughable. They have not been in accord with the agreement last summer. Come September, there were certain things they were supposed to have done in terms of allowing inspectors into various sites and rolling things back. They just didn't do them, and they're just playing us here. And from what I hear, officials in Iran are just thinking this is the most hilarious thing they've ever seen, that they are pushing. Obama is desperate for a deal. And I think, honestly, Congress needs to know the truth about what's going on in Iran and not just rubber stamp any kind of deal that the president comes up with. I think it's very alarming that he wants to do this all by himself and that it's a legacy issue. Honestly, you need to read up on this because Iran is a frightening country, and its tendrils now are in Yemen. They're spreading all throughout the Middle East. It's a very, very worrisome thing. And again, President Obama's personal ambitions should not get in the way of America's security.
Well, amen to that. And I have to say that Prime Minister Netanyahu, what a passionate orator. I mean, the last time he spoke before the joint session, he brought the house down, and I can't help but think he'll do it again.
I think you're totally right. And so what's wrong with that? We had David Cameron talking about how we shouldn't impose new sanctions legislation because it might disturb the talks. Again, I think the talks are sort of laughable, but it seems to me if you've heard from one side, it's perfectly reasonable to want to hear from the other side. And
All right. Before I let you go quickly, over the weekend, a lot of wannabes were in Iowa. Do you think the Republicans can get their act together quickly so that the money doesn't get misspent and we have too much bickering going on before we get to the general election?
I think there are two camps here. On the one hand, you have Jeb Bush and Mitt Romney fighting it out for the big establishment Republican donors. I honestly don't think they're going to go with Romney. I've spoken to a couple of big money guys on the right they're going with Jeb Bush if they're looking for an establishment candidate. My guess is Romney's going to hear that from a lot of people in the next couple of weeks or next month, and he'll bow out. I could be wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen. On the other side, you have all the lesser-known fellows who want to give a run at it, and some of those are our best candidates. Some of the Republican governors, whether it's Kasich or Scott Walker, I think these are terrific candidates. They're fresh, they're new. Their name is not out there, and unfortunately, they're going to have to spend a lot of money getting their name out there. I hope whoever the candidate is, at the end of this fraught year, we're going to see a real coalescing around a few names. And I mean, I hope a lot of these guys disappear between now and, let's say, September.
They will, yeah. Well, Liz, thank you for your time. Thanks for what you do. And you're terrific. Again, it's lizpeek.com if you want to correspond there and get some of her writings, lizpeek.com. Check it out. Thanks, Liz, and have a great day. Let's do it again, okay?
Thank you. I'd love that. Thanks very much for having me.
Bet. All right. We'll be right back.